So I'm going to begin by introducing myself for those of you who don't know who I am. My name is Karen Dion, and I'm the author of 2 novels of psychological suspense that are set in the Upper Peninsula Wilderness in Michigan. And I actually just 1 hour ago got back from a research trip in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for book number 3. So I was wearing plaid all weekend long, but now I'm back to dress clothes again. Now I want to introduce our special guests. And I'm going to start with do this alphabetically. So we have Jeffery Deaver tonight. He's been writing suspense fiction for nearly 40 years. He's the author of 45 novels and 80 short stories. And he's known for thriller fiction that takes place over a very compressed time frame, such as 2 or 3 days at the most, and features multiple surprise endings. I've been a fan for forever, and I'm sure many of you have too, and you know that this is true. The book that he asked us to highlight tonight is The Final Twist, which came out May 11, and it's a Coulter Shaw novel. But I also want to point out that he has Lincoln Rhyme number 15, Midnight Lock, will be coming out the end of November. And I know one thing I'm going to ask him in the breakout room is how does he have 2 novels coming out in the same year when I can't seem to even get one a year? So that's something that you might ask him too. Moving on to Tess Gerritsen, she's trained as a physician, but she left medicine to become a writer. She's now the author of 30 best-selling suspense novels, including the Rizzoli and Isles crime series. Her newest book is Choose Me, which is written with Gary Braver, and it came out July 1. Hank Phillippi Ryan, hello Hank. She's my partner in the back room, as any of you who have been here before know, but tonight she's one of our feature authors because she has a new book out too, Her Perfect Life, which just published September 14. There it is. So Hank is the USA Today bestselling author of 13 award-winning novels of suspense. National reviews have called her a master at crafting suspenseful mysteries and a superb gifted storyteller. She's also an award-winning investigative reporter at Boston's WHDH-TV. In addition to 36 Emmys and 14 Edward R. Murrow Awards, Hanks won dozens of other honors for her groundbreaking journalism. And I think we can see some of the Emmys in the background. Is that correct, Hank?
Correct.
Yeah. And lastly, we have PJ Vernon, who, because his name starts with V, he's used to being last in lists, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So PJ Vernon writes thrillers. His latest is The Bathhouse, which has been called an adrenaline-spiked pulse pounder by the New York Times and is now available wherever books are sold. I have to say, so the authors supplied a brief bio, and PJ apparently took me at my word here and wrote a really brief bio. So again, we'll find out more about you and your likes and dislikes and all of that right now, because we're going to play a quick game of 20-ish questions, not quite 20 questions, just to give everyone a chance to get to know the authors a little bit. And the authors don't know what these questions are. And I know from having been on the other side, not the host, are you nervous tonight, Hank, about what question you're going to get?
Yes, I'm completely freaking out, I have to say. I'm terrified.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the easy ones. And Jeff, you get the first question. Where do you write?
A simple answer to that question is everywhere. I'm sitting in my kitchen right at the moment. This is one of my offices. I have a regular office too. I write in bed. I write everywhere. I happen to enjoy writing, and so I take advantage of every place important. And if there are any IRS investigators out there and you happen to look at the home office deduction I take, it is basically the entire square footage of my house.
I like that. That's a good way to do it. Tess, when do you feel the most creative?
Probably just before I fall asleep. The problem is, of course, that I have a little notebook right by my bed, and so I'll jot things down, and then I wake up the next morning and thought, what was I thinking? So,
wow, that's cool. PJ, is your desk messy or tidy?
It's messy if I have anything to do with it, which usually I don't. My husband Barry does, and so it's immaculate and put together perfectly, and I'm set every day.
That's very handy if you're a messy person to have someone tidy to clean up after you.
Sometimes.
Hank, what was your favorite book as a child?
Oh, either Sherlock Holmes, all the Sherlock Holmes short stories, or there's a series of books called by Edward Eager, a series of mysteries by Edward Eager, The Time Garden and Magic or Not and Knight's Castle, and they were about a group of kids who fell into magic, and part of the book was figuring out what magic they had and then how to solve the puzzle of the magic. I read them now. I have a stash of them on these shelves. So whenever a little kid comes over, I just press the books on them to make sure they have the same adventure. I love them. The Edward Eager books. Have you all read those? Do you know them?
Nope.
Oh, all right. Come over.
You just have some new converts.
Yes.
So, Jeff, when did you start writing? And do you remember the title of the first thing you ever wrote?
I was 12 years old. I was a geek when I was growing up, a nerd, but I was a nerd when it meant something, because today, if you're a nerd, you've got $1 billion social networking company. I was a nerd, like a Leave It to Beaver nerd. I was socially inept and clumsy and so forth. But I was drawn to books and movies, and I started writing at 12. I wrote my first novel at 12. It was only like 5 pages long, a pastiche of a James Bond story, because I loved that. I do not remember the title, although I do remember that I drew the cover art myself and enjoyed that more than writing.
Oh, that's really cool. That's very cool. Tess, what's the worst thing about being a writer?
Your butt. It spreads. I mean, if you're sitting in a chair all day, and so you just sort of watch that grow over the years, and you just think, what do I do about this? So it's really important to get up and move around every hour.
Okay, that's good. We'll take that to heart. PJ, what's the best thing about being a writer?
Oh gosh, you get to walk into a bookstore and people on the shelves, and your friends are on the shelves, and nothing beats that. Nothing beats that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Awesome, isn't it? Yes. Hank, what's the first thing you do when you get an idea for a book?
Cheer and applaud. And then I proceed to write, and I think, oh, thank you, whoever is the giver of ideas. And then I sort of proceed to decide whether it's a good idea, a really good idea. I think when you get a good idea, you get sort of goosebumps and you instantly think, yes, that's it. So I'm infinitely, infinitely grateful. And wherever those ideas come from, I'm ready anytime.
Nice. Yeah, wonderful.
I don't need to write it down, because if I don't remember it, then it's probably not a good idea.
And so I want to move on just briefly. Tell us your book recommendations. What are you reading? We ask the authors to pick out a book in advance that they think everybody else should be reading too. So Jeff, we'll start with you. What book are you recommending tonight?
Sure. I'm recommending a book called Girl A by Abigail Dean. And it is a wonderful story, very compelling, about an attorney working in Manhattan. She's from the UK originally and has come to Manhattan largely to escape her past, but as often happens in the most compelling suspense fiction, the past intrudes and she must go back to confront a myriad of things. That's inarticulate to say things, but you can imagine what must happen. The childhood comes back to haunt her, and it is a story of redemption and truly compelling.
Thank you. Sounds wonderful. How about you, Tess? What are you recommending?
This is a book that just came out, and it is called, I don't know if you can see it, Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Kurian. And what's interesting about it is it's a thriller. Okay. I guess I recommended another book before.
That's all right. We won't worry about that. Okay. Keep going.
But that was a good book too. I forgot that I'd recommended that one. But what I loved about this one is that all the main characters are sociopaths. And what's fun about it is that what is it like to be a sleuth who's also a sociopath?
Nice. Thank you. That sounds intriguing. And we'll put that in.
I love that book, Tess. It's amazing.
Yeah. And how about you, PJ?
I'm here to recommend The Damage by Caitlin Wuorr. I was lucky enough to share a pub day with her. This is a gripping, stunning example of crime fiction in which, refreshingly, the victim of a searing moment of violence, sexual violence, their loved ones, their support network are front and center. The fallout is interrogated in a way that is incredibly authentic, as only an attorney with those kinds of lived experiences in that world could do. And it explores a very fundamental question about, like how far we'll go for justice, reckoning, and absolution in the wake of something so horrifying. And that doesn't always look like what you think it would. So highly recommend it. Chilling and gripping.
Sounds great. Sounds great. And Hank, what book are you recommending tonight?
I'm recommending All Her Little Secrets by Wanda Morris. This is a debut novel. Some people have called it The Firm Meets the Other Black Girl, but it stars a corporate attorney in Atlanta. She's got this fabulous new job. She's got in a fabulous new office. She has friends. She has everything going for her. And then one day she walks into the office and finds a very important person dead in his office, clearly murdered. And what does she do? She walks away. And the book is about the fallout from that. All Her Little Secrets, Wanda Morris. It's fast-paced, page-turner, terrific novel. Comes out November the 9th. It's just fantastic. And I think Wanda is here in the audience, which is quite amazing. And I hadn't told her I was doing this. So here you go, Wanda. I love, love, love this book.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed this taste of what a backroom event is like. The best part comes immediately after, when the audience is divided into 4 breakout rooms and the authors visit each room in turn. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because these relaxed face-to-face conversations between authors and readers are the hallmark of our backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded. What's said in the back room stays in the back room.